Yeah, but the front end is the So you want to call, I think I'm just going to have you, well, we'll
Yeah.
just,
Call the meeting to order of the
Okay, I'm
Finance
gonna-
Committee to review the budget, proposed budget for 2024.
okay, you have in the packet a budget. I have also distributed a budget with a few red changes on it. They're really insignificant changes, but they are a little bit different than what was distributed to you. There's not a lot here in the budget. I took our 2022 actuals. I went through and looked at our 2023 projected budget, which was actuals through, I think, the end of September, and actually through the end of August when I started doing it. And then I figured out what we were going to spend for the balance of the year. The only big changes for the balance of the year is that the Land Bank 2 grant, we're going to start spending that. So we are spending that now, so we're going to start getting reimbursements for that. So if you look at the 2024 proposed budget, there's $16,000 there. That is what we anticipate getting from our investment earnings. The $1.6 million are the state subsidies and grants. That's the Land Bank 2 grant. And it's okay, some of that we will be getting in 2023 because the $1.7 million grant, but we'll be getting some of that. I have it calculated into the 2023 projected budget. And then the $80,000 is, I'm trying to figure out why that's $80,000. That's the county grant of, I'm sorry, why did I not change it? 2024 proposed is a $75,000 from the county, and I believe 5,000 also. There's other 5,000 in there also. That would be, I think, reimbursements from Metroplex for some of the projects that we're doing. So that brings a total of 1.7 million proposed revenues for 2024. The expenditures, I have them all broken out by what they are, but on the budget, they're basically going to end up in a line that is other operating expenditures, which is that $254,000. And you can see I changed it. The annual program management with Metroplex is $127,000, not $140,000, which changes the total below from 254 to 241,300. Those are the two circle numbers, or a red number on the top and a circle number on the bottom, and also the excess deficiency changes from 616 to 603. The programs are basically between Metroplex, or the expenditures, Orion, and also we're going to be using TWNA, or a project manager for management of the Mosaic project. We'll be splitting that with Metroplex. Bookkeeping, everything else is kind of the same, and legal is considerably higher, 52,000. That's because we will be doing a lot of zombie enforcement with Niskuna, with Rotterdam, and with Schenectady. So that's why that bumps up. So basically, okay, those are our, our operating expenditures. And then our non-operating expenditures below is basically, that's right, basically the non-operating expenditures is 2,092, or 2,092,161, and that includes all of the different breakout of projects that we're doing, including I got them all broken down here. So where that includes the AIK MLB Summit Avenue project. It includes our demolitions that we'll be doing for Schenectady 40. So it's a whole bunch of projects that I basically added them all up. What's anticipated to spend next year comes to 2,092,000. And so that's it for 2024. And we're adopting the 2024 budget, but the format that I give to the state expands out 2025, 26, and 27. And that's just anticipating lower funding potentially from the state. Instead of 1.6 million, I'm back down to the LB Land Bank Initiative 1 grant of $200,000. And the county is basically anticipating 75,000 in revenue per year. Any questions?
Move to approve.
All right,
Second?
I think you're on the finance,
I'm sorry?
I'm on the finance.
are you on the finance?
I am,
Oh,
yeah.
good. I was thinking it was Rich. Okay,
I mean, right, David?
Yeah.
I can look
I'm
it
just
up.
kidding. I'm on the finance.
Yes.
okay, good.
I'll look
So-
at I'll just confirm that as you guys go forward.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the budget's passed, so I guess I'll just close the finance meeting and hand it over to you, Bob.
Okay. It probably wouldn't hurt just to,
The finance, just to clarify, the finance committee is Joe, Kathy, and Rich Paterni. So
Rich
we have
Paterni,
two.
right.
Audit committee.
The
is-
audit committee.
Audit, okay, sorry about that.
Okay, so we had a first from Joe and probably
It's been
I
a
need a
while.
second from Kathy. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I just thought since I was signing checks now, you know, I was like on the finance.
You're
committee.
I was thinking,
Assistant treasurer still, I think, as well.
you threw me for a loop, but I was new enough. I figured I'd just go with it.
When he reappoints new committees, he should appoint you also to the finance committee. So we should go to 4 people rather than 3. Make it
Okay.
even more confusing.
My bad, folks.
all right, let's call a meeting to order at 4:40. Approval on the previous meetings.
And again, I have the package of changes which you have. There's just one change to the, which is the one, sorry, I'm not looking at it. I just added, in the one that was sent out, I was going to be getting a quote, requested a quote from, and that was a quote to get pricing for the clearing of the brush after Hamilton Street demolition was completed. So that's the only change.
Moved as written.
As amended, or what? Is that amended or? is
No,
written?
you handed out, what you mailed out was the draft. What you gave
Okay.
us today is the minutes.
Okay.
So that's
Good.
fine.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve?
I just
By
did-
Joe, second.
Second.
Kathy, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, treasurer's report.
Okay, you have in front of you the treasurer's report. on it. And you can see that the treasurer's report's a little bit expanded on the balance sheet because we now have multiple accounts in our different banks. Before, we only had 3 accounts, now we have 6. We have a money market in each of our 3 different accounts for Amsterdam, Schenectady, and our operating. And all that that's showing you, it's the larger amount, and that's what we're going to be earning the interest on for next year, so that you can see that. And if it's not clear, when you look at the top one, it's the Pioneer Amsterdam MM, meaning money market account, and then Pioneer Amsterdam operating. And that was the question that we were talking about when people walked in. David, you didn't hear that yet. And that is whether or not we need to do anything for internal transfer. I don't think that we need to do any signatures or know anything because it's an internal
I
operation.
would think that's fine, but the Metrobus policy is to move from accounts.
Yeah, we just move them and the board sees what they are, or at least I see what they are. When I get the monthly reports,
Straight
I
away.
can report on that.
Right,
So
so
that there have been ones done. So I don't see any need to do any other paperwork.
I do, yeah, so we don't need to sign it. This has been our finance person requested that I do this, but we don't need to
Yeah,
have you
well,
sign
you
it.
can ask them
Yeah.
if they need, what they see the need for that. I don't think it needs to be even done.
Could be part of the reconciliation process.
Yeah. And as you can see, the operating Schenectady has the largest balance, which I assume means, that we anticipated some more expenditures to come in during this period, so that we reduce the number of transfers that we do. The balance, as you can see, is nearly $1,700,000. And I don't know if there's any other questions that you've got. We're clearly spending money, which is a good thing.
That
It
is.
means we're being active. So unless there's a question, I will move the finance report, treasurer's report.
Second.
No more questions on it? Joe, I have a question. How many times do we move the fund? How many times do we move?
Well, we just started this, so we can't tell you that.
So we,
Should be about once a month, but we may do more if we all of a sudden, if we've got a project out and they get done early, we don't have the funds available in the account, we'll move the funds from the money market in.
generally, we cut checks once a month.
Right.
So when we need the funding, then that's when we would do a transfer.
Yeah,
So we leave it
our
in-
policy is twice a month, but we don't do that. It depends on when people come in.
Yeah.
We do it on an occasional basis of the thing. If somebody suddenly finishes a project and asks for money, we're not gonna hold them up, especially if it's a large project. The thing. And that's the purpose of getting, the longer we can keep the money in the money market, the more interest we're gonna be earning on these. And based on what we've seen already, the $16,000 is a very, very conservative estimate for next year. But I mean, if the projects get done really quickly, the money's gonna be used up really quickly, which means that we'll not have much in the money market. Does that take
Which
care of it?
really looks good for the Attorney General and the review. The review, we meet once a month on, are they reviewing once a month?
The Attorney General,
Yeah,
I submit as I draw down, they review.
so, okay.
It's through New York State HCR now, Attorney
Yeah.
General, not the finance anymore.
Right. So, yeah, so every time I do a submission, they'll review it at that point.
Yeah. All right, no more questions in the Treasury report. We'll move on to the Executive Director's
Take a
report.
vote.
Okay, let's have a, thank you for that. I need a motion on the Treasurer's
You've
report.
got the motion,
got
you
the
need to vote.
All
Yeah,
right,
second.
all in favor of the Treasurer's report?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, let's move on to the Executive Director's report.
Okay, the demolitions that we've been undertaking are nearing completion. So the Rankin Avenue warehouse is long down, the Hewlett Street properties are long down, and the properties on Erie Boulevard, what we call the SCC project, we are on the last building right now. We had 0 change orders on the whole round until this morning. So there was some hazardous materials found in the demolition of the last building. We're still trying to get some pricing on that. I don't think it could be significant, but it's not going to be a huge portion of the entire budget. Let's see.
They were, just for people who know, they were needles, right?
Yeah, they were hypodermic needles that weren't, tons
Which
of
is
them.
the reason why we take, that's kind of the behavior that was going on in these buildings, so it's good to get it down.
Right.
Wasn't oil tanks.
So they're trying to figure out either where that can be disposed of or if they have to be hand picked out with gloves and hazardous materials. So that's what we're looking at right now. Let's see, Habitat for Humanity closed. They had 2 properties in Mount Pleasant. Orchard Street has closed. We're supposed to receive funding from that, but we're waiting to get the rest of the funding when they close on the First Avenue property. But those are moving forward. 749 Kramer is moving forward as well. They're working on the inside of that right now. The Mosaic project, which is the Mount Pleasant project with the 2 new buildings going up, that is underway. The site's being cleared. The demolitions are complete. Let's see. I don't have an update yet on the Summit Avenue project, which is the AHOP project, which is a home ownership project. They're still going through planning commission right now on that. They had some changes they had to do on the properties. So that'll probably kick off early next year. Let's see, Amsterdam, the Legacy Cities project is moving. The first 2 were supposed to be done right around now. They're running a little bit behind on those. But so they've got 2 down and a number to go. They've identified properties for demolition, and they're working through foreclosing on those right now to use the HCR funding to do demolitions. Let's see, for the HCR grants, so we were approved, they upped the Land Bank Initiative 1 grant, we were getting $100,000. We are up to $200,000 on that, they've approved that, so I'm submitting the first draw on that this week. And I'm also submitting the first drawdown on the Land Bank 2 initiative, which is for 4 of the residential properties in Rankin Avenue. And hopefully we will be the first land bank to draw down any Land Bank 2 funds. If I get it in quick enough, who knows? That's it for the executive director's report. If there's any questions?
Out of activity.
There is.
Like somebody else is following me. Thank you for that, Stephen. Okay, let's move on to the considerations on the action. There's 5 items, and we're going to take to Eastern Avenue 101 or 10112 Eastern Avenue resolution.
1012 Eastern. So this is something David had been working on for quite some time with Habitat for Humanity. This is a renovation of a long vacant building kind of at the eastern approach to where we've done so much work on Eastern Avenue. You can see from the picture, there was a porch that they did take down. They're still working though with getting title of the property from the city. It's a $300,000 project with Homes funding and ARPA funding as well. There's a $100,000 shortfall in the project. So I'd like to put $100,000 towards that to get them moving. And if they close soon, they will get the roof abatement. They'll start with the roof abatement, which is removing an asbestos roof and installing a new one, which needs to be done at the same time. Do you have any questions on that?
Big question that I've got, this seems to me to be the largest, is this going to be a single family?
It
is.
It is a single family house.
This
Yeah.
seems to me to be the largest amount that we've spent on a single family. And the question that I've got, would it be cheaper to demolish and build new for Habitat? I don't know. You
Yeah.
understand why I'm asking?
You
that
know, I
question?
do. I don't think so. I think it would probably be comparable, but like the prices,
Yeah,
the prices are kind of like there now, it seems to me, at least from what I've been seeing,
Yeah.
which is a little crazy.
And it's,
Joe, sometimes when you look at a building, when you look at the bones of a building, sometimes it's better to keep the
you know,
existing.
I'm not disputing that. I understand that, but the point that I'm saying is that
It's a
We've
lot for
never
a renovation.
done $300,000, I mean, in a single family at this point that I can recall. And the question of due diligence for somebody asking the question, why are you putting that much money in? Because it clearly, I mean, we know that most of the stuff that we do on rehab, we're gonna put more money in than the building actually will be appraised at, and either by a bank or by the city. But this is a much bigger amount than we've done, so I just want to make certain that we've done that due diligence. I'm not opposing this, but I think the question really should be asked.
and it is a lot. I mean, the building's kind of part of the fabric of the street. If you tear that building down, you're not going to be able to build anything else there. So
Okay,
It's also the first time Habitat's not going to use any volunteer labor, right? They're looking to.
this one is all contractors, yeah.
And
So
they're just
that's,
having,
yeah,
they're
that's a
having
big difference for them.
an issue with trying to get their enough capacity to get going.
Mhm.
So this is just one way for moving forward.
all I'm trying to do is avoid when somebody comes and looks at the stuff later on and said, you did what with how much money?
Yeah.
That
It's
type
a lot,
of a thing, and it is a lot.
So
So
are
we've
we,
got the reasons for doing it, so I'll move the resolution.
well, one more question, because I'm not disagreeing, $100,000 is a lot of money, Joe, but we have to look at the labor cost increase, product increase. So when do they give you a breakdown of the renovations of a building?
On this one,
I
I
mean,
don't know, did you look at, David, when you were working with them on estimates for,
That's the first number that I saw.
Yeah.
We were hoping they were moving this faster, and
Yeah.
it's been.
Because Joe does have a good question. I mean, that's a good question in regards to justifying $100,000. I mean, where's all that cost going to? We're looking at almost $300,000.
Yeah, and it's a the agreement would be written up, so it's a reimbursement basis, and they have to show 300,000, probably do a disbursement based on progress. But if they only spend 170, they wouldn't get the full 100. So, you want.
So are we in position 3, or is it a fair share approach
I would
based on
think
that?
we have to get the agreement with them, but I'm thinking we're gonna probably be first in on this. Because
Yeah, and the
otherwise,
city
the
was
city's
planning-
ARPA and homes money as well, yeah.
Well, it's just, yeah, I mean, they, in the past, they've funded it through their balance and then.
And in this instance, you have other external funding. So I guess that's why I'm raising the question. If it weren't for other external funding. And I think I had asked Steve earlier, what does he think the assessed value will be of the property? And just making sure that we're taking into consideration who our
Taxes.
target audience is to make sure that the property is going
Yeah.
to meet the intent. So maybe, to Joe's point, maybe we do an authorization subject to a review of the overall budget by you folks.
That sounds fine.
And that way we can move it
Did
forward.
they indicate they're ready to go soon or?
They still are not, they want to get going on the roof because they need to get that done before the winter. That's why we would be first in, because they don't have their agreement all lined up and not done yet with the city on the homes and the ARPA funding.
Makes sense.
Subject to review of the budget.
Maybe we put some protections for you, if we're bringing money in and then move forward, that we have rights to the property if they.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
And I
you know,
would check with
Madeline
the
was
city
running-
too, Steve, because I know there's a lot of unspent home money that they have.
Yeah, that's been a discussion going on. I mean, I think they were moving pretty good with Madeline, and then they're just kind of all getting back on the bike right now, figuring out how it works.
Okay, I'll
So you're making an amendment.
set a motion, 1012 Eastern Avenue.
There's a motion to amend, and I'm seconding the motion to amend.
And then-
Okay, second motion to amend, and that's in regards to reviewing the
Right.
dollar amount.
Yeah, to receive a project budget and
Review of
scope.
Plan.
Motion by Joe, second.
No,
Kathy,
Kathy's.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And now we vote on the full motion.
You seconded the amendment, right? And so
There's
now,
two different motions.
One
right,
for the amendment,
And that we
one
just
for the
voted on, and now
approval.
we've got to vote on the
Okay,
approval.
can I have a second motion on Eastern Avenue for
I move-
approval of the
I
resolution?
move to approve it already. You need a second.
right, that's what he said a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed.
All right. 902 Crane Street. So this is a property that the owner or the purchaser has been trying to buy for 5 years. It started before COVID. It's been issues with the city. It's only 2 sites away from the Mosaic property that's going on, Mosaic project that's going on right now. So the purchase price on this, he will be buying it from the city for $17,000. And that is underway. There is a lien on it for about $89,000 against Palmer Press, who was the previous owner of that, which it's like a 10-year, he's having troubles right now with his closing on this. But so what I would consider doing is that we hold the city harmless for $20,000 of the lien amount, which is $80,000, and the city would basically
Yeah, so
pick
the
up the balance.
city's trying to foreclose us, doesn't keep bumping the lien around. And it's just one of those things, it's a judgment, so December 1st, 2024, it would be completed, no longer have any ability to collect. And but we don't want to just continue to wait, so if someone really wants to go after it, we can help with legal resources and I'd like to just help and have the city, they're looking at their opportunity to help as well, just so we can get this in the hands of the right person. As long as they're not getting financing right away, which I think they're doing a lot with cash. This allows them to move forward.
Yeah, and they've obviously, the costs have gone up. We talked about lower incentive 3 years ago, but now the
It was
abatement's gone
also
up.
the New York State Main Street program was still in effect, and that has since expired. BCNI used what they could there, and that funding is no longer available.
So
And
any,
the developer is someone who has a track record of, being able to complete the projects and,
Yeah, they own Mommy's Restaurant for many, many years. They own properties in Albany, and then they purchased the vacant building on Broadway where they opened their second restaurant. Caribbean?
okay,
Caribbean
yep.
restaurant. It's very nice. They're a great family, participated in the Mount Pleasant Merchants Association. They did a great job taking that vacant building, bringing it online, and they'll do the same here. And family member would live above.
his parents are gonna live in the
And
apartment
they wanted to
upstairs.
do it for 4 years, so it's just,
Great.
The only question that I have is the 20,000 included in the 70,000, or is that an additional that might,
That would
Might
be an
be needed.
additional.
because it's not in the resolution?
It's a new
Oh,
revised.
it's in the revised, so that was the package I gave you here. So go, flip through to there,
This is what you just gave
here,
me.
right here.
There's another one?
This is this panel.
Oh, this is another one that I've already got, we've already looked at.
There it is. It's the second whereas resolved, the board agrees to
Okay.
indemnify the city for up to 20,000 related to an existing lien on the property.
Okay. Somehow,
and not that we're definitely gonna do that, but I just wanna have that option available.
Okay, motion by Joe on the resolution 232333. Second
Second?
by Kristen, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, no one opposed? Okay, the next one, 115 Prospect Street.
Okay, this is a property that actually we took back when I was here and demolished it after I left. So we had two properties on Prospect Street. So I went out and looked to see who the neighbors were, and the property owners to the left, our owner occupants, have been in the property for five years. Very nice couple. I went over and talked with them for a while. They immediately delivered a $500 deposit when I asked them if they were interested in it, offered us $1,000 for the property. So we don't have to maintain it, I would recommend that we sell this. They're going to use it for an expansion of the yard. They're gonna fence the backyard immediately. Next year, they'll do some paving. He talked about doing the sidewalk, and I offered him that if they do the sidewalk, which is gonna cost $6,000 or $7,000, that we would consider granting back the $1,000 we get from them to go towards the cost if they finish it by November of next year. I think once they start pricing it, they might not do that, but hopefully they will. So that's the proposal.
Okay.
Any questions on 115 Prospect Street?
Motion?
Motion by Kathy,
second,
second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, no opposed? Moving on to Schenectady project plan, which is huge, big undertaking
Schenectady
for us.
40 project, it is. It's a big project. We're partnering with Metroplex. There's a development team, which is the community builders, Five Corners Development, and BCNI as well. It includes the creation of over 180 apartments over time on 4 separate sites, as well as the creation of a grocery store. This also is, we would be taking 9 properties from Schenectady 40, which is a horribly mismanaged apartment, affordable housing project that was, I think, causing problems 20 and 30 years ago. And so the city did some aggressive enforcement. We are working with a receivership on taking, actually, it's 11 properties. What else can I tell you about that? It's been delayed a little bit, but in the meantime, we would like to take title to these properties, offer $300,000 towards the demolition. Metroplex has committed the other day to expend up to $550,000. Our $300,000 may take out a portion of their $550,000. But we'll probably package this whole thing, the demos there, including the commercial development as well, and look for Metroplex funding to work with them on that as well. So we would take title to the properties. The developer would pay the acquisition fees. We would take that as well as some from Schenectady. and, let's see, hold title to them while we're waiting for the deal to come together. If we get stuck with these properties and the developing team doesn't work through it, they're good properties to own. We want to really get control of all these and control that area. It's really the gap between what's happened and what hasn't right now, and we want to finish that off. So with the slight delay, with the receivership, but I wanted to have this lined up to move forward with and make sure we could run with all the properties. It includes taking 3 properties from the city of Schenectady, 302, 310, and 339 Germania, and the revised resolution. Do you have I made some other changes based on some feedback from Kathy. It adds 313 Schenectady Street, which is one of the Schenectady 40 properties, and it's subject contingent to us getting an agreement with the development team for them to maintain the property, cover us on all closing costs.
But we would,
Appreciate, Steve, I left the squirrely projects for him to deal with.
Yeah.
The money coming to HCR, there's a much more extensive environmental review process. And what we found is the more we tie this money that we get from that to projects that already have to go through that environmental review process, the better it is to use more flexible money. So
Yeah.
the goal would be that hopefully there's more HCR money available that we can apply to that 300, and then the Metroplex money can go into something that you're not as likely to find.
Is there a timeline on a project of this magnitude?
Well,
Ever just,
I mean, hopefully the first phase of it would start with the demolitions in the spring.
that's what I was gonna ask about, like, moving forward demolitions before we know if a development is happening. I mean, I know these buildings are in rough shape.
I think having them ready, I mean, the team is very strong. It's the community builders is, the major player in it. So I'm not really too concerned about that. And regardless, we have HCR funding, we have county funding, we have Metroplex funding as well. So I don't think
It's a 4% tax deal, so it's not
Okay, so that's, yeah.
Right.
But it's like an 18-month period that they usually say, but there is some complications with the receivership and just issues that might take a little bit longer. But yeah, to your point, yeah, don't want to remove buildings.
We just don't wanna have huge
I
holes. with
totally
them.
understand, but one of this building is fire damage, so.
I'm gonna say,
I don't
every
think
time.
I don't think you'll notice the difference. I mean, when you take these, there's so many gaps.
Well,
and
there
it's like
is a
building.
lot of housing around there, like small,
There's, but not on Albany Street. I mean, it's the Mohawk Honda lot.
So what would be the trigger then for action?
For, well,
Demolition, I should say.
Acquisition.
Yeah.
I think that we'd want to, if these properties were acquired, we'd want to look to bid, whether it's us bidding now, I think that still needs to be worked out, or if the development team, we probably want to move forward with demolition.
So then what would
almost all these properties.
trigger acquisition other than our
I
resolve?
think what would trigger it is the
receipt.
deal, the final deal with the receiver, which has
Yeah.
just been delayed now until, was it January?
There's a signed purchase and sale agreement that the receiver was able to sign, but it's just delayed by the owner until January.
The only question that I've got is in the discussion that you gave us, there's the land swap that's part of it. And that's not in the resolution. Is that something that we're gonna see later as a resolution?
Well, we have the ability to acquire.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's, if we're gonna do the land swap, we need to be able to vote on that. It's not in here. You're planning, if that's gonna happen, that's gonna be another resolution. Because
I
this
didn't
is-
intend it to be because we have acquiring the property, 339 Germania, and then we have the ability to transfer, to effectuate the acquisition, demolition, and future sales of these properties to developers. So the developer is going to buy that other property.
Okay,
We're not going to be involved in that one.
They might convey their interest, they use it
Yeah.
to a different party.
Okay.
but their
the,
interest-
the impression that I got was that we would be getting the other property, so you're saying, no, we're not.
Well, and I'm sorry, but we're not going to, right, so we're going to be able to acquire 339. He would pay the price for 748 Albany Street, or is it 746?
I think so.
And then, so we would get that, but then we would transfer. I have something
So they would all be sold back to the development team, that's at no cost, we transfer them back to the development team.
and then we
With Germania, they might so choose to then transfer that to a different entity
right,
to, as part of their transaction.
so that one may
Clarification,
transfer.
Is it transfer or sale?
Well, they are perfect, so they are
The-
paying the purchase price.
I mean, they're gonna be purchase and sales. So they're gonna,
Who's they?
the development team, okay, so we would purchase 339, and then we would sell it back to the development team, and the development team would get us 748, and we would,
746.
There are a little bit of the mechanics that I think still need to be completely worked out, from the sense of the purchase of the city properties. My assumption would be that we'd probably sign a purchase agreement with the city, but not actually take title to them until it's time to move forward with the project. So the purchase, the actual taking ownership of Germania and the others would most likely happen at the time they're ready to take ownership of the other properties, which would be at the point where Germania would need to be sold back.
right, and the resolution authorizes us to enter into an agreement to effectuate the acquisition, demolition, and future sale, not necessarily in that order, I guess, of these properties to the
It's-
developer.
It's not the resolution, it's the memo with the use of the word swap in there that's causing the problem. But that's not what we're voting on, we're voting on the resolution.
Right, no, agreed.
Steve, can I impose upon you to articulate again what we're doing? I think I got a little lost again.
Okay. For that one, as it relates to that
No, I
one
think now
property?
the whole thing is, it's throwing me on in the future sales, the future sale of all of these or only one in particular?
Well, it's the future sale of all of these properties. That one property, 339, may proceed, because that's going to be required to go
Okay.
to allow us to acquire the property on 748.
Okay. So wouldn't we want to do the future sale in a separate and distinct resolution?
Well, it's all going to be, I think, written out in an agreement that spells out specifically, you're allowing us to negotiate the agreement on how specifically that happens. Do you want to?
Okay.
I see what you're saying, Kathy.
I'm
But
just a little
yeah.
confused.
So all the parties are coming into all the properties are coming into the land,
Yes.
right? And I feel like the resolution does adequately provide that. We're purchasing from the city and we're accepting properties that the development team is providing the money for. At some point, these properties are going to be transferred out of the land bank. And the way I envision it is there will be one agreement with that development team. So they all go out to them. They might transfer their interest to Germania. At
But is
that
it,
time.
but then because they're paying for it in the first instance, when we return the properties to them, it's just a transfer. It's not even another sale, is it?
I would see it as I'd have to understand the legal clarification
Yes.
between it, but it would be a nominal amount to transfer them
Okay.
rights that they have that we're holding under us. And the real question will be, and I think that my understanding of the way the resolution, reading it, is written, is that we're okay with the approvals. The question will be, is the private owner of 746,
Mhm.
will they be looking to immediately sell 746 and to immediately purchase 339? My assumption would be no, because they have a building right now that they are currently rented and occupying. 339 would need work. So my assumption would be that they would continue to, there would be a purchase option on that, but that we would not actually take title to 746 until the time when this whole transaction is going to happen.
Right, that's helpful.
Thanks.
So what you're saying is that the transaction is going to take place once simultaneously, not simultaneous.
The transaction into us will not be simultaneous. There'll be the receiver properties that once they can take title to those, they will, and they'll move that forward. They will have what I imagine is some kind of purchase sale agreement, maybe with an extended option for the privately owned parcel 746 Albany Street. And that is the parcel the gentleman would like to have another rental. That, I believe they'll be able to show site control, but not actually take that parcel in the way that we might need to hold it for an extended period of time.
I suggest that maybe in the last resolve, I think what was throwing me is, could we speak to authorization to take, to get the property from the city? Because this is all about the agreement with the developer.
Right.
And don't you I'm figuring out now that you get to do the properties with the city too.
You just.
I've whereas them, but I haven't resolved them.
Right.
Yeah, the resolve incorporates that into that, but you've got to have the explanation for that. It would be better to do as an additional whereas.
Yeah, that's what was throwing me.
Is it an additional resolved? Because we have the
Well, that's it.
whereas.
Instead of the whereas should be changed into a resolved. You can do that, add it.
Well, I'm gonna leave it as a whereas and just change it to add it also as a resolved. Is that
Right,
what you're saying?
yes, that I think takes care of what Kathy is talking about.
Okay.
So you've got the transactions with the land developer, and then you have the transaction with the city.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll take that whereas and make it, and be it further resolved, that the board approves, the acceptance of the following properties from the city of Schenectady.
Do
From
you
the
need a
city.
motion to amend?
Yes.
We need a motion to amend,
I'll second.
and just repeat, please, go
Yeah.
through the amended.
The
motion,
amended,
please.
the amended version would be the resolution as you have it here, but there'll be the fifth whereas is going to stay there, but it's also going to transform into the final and be it further resolved that in order to effectuate this plan, the board agrees, authorizes the acceptance of the following properties from the city of Schenectady. From the city. I was gonna say, because the city.
Motion on the amendment.
We had Kathy motioned on the amendment, Joe seconded it.
Right.
So you have a vote on the amendment.
Second by Joe.
Yes.
All in favor of the amended motion?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Over here.
Okay, so
Kristen,
Sorry.
we're good? Now a motion to move the resolution 2023-35.
I'll move it.
Motion by Joe, second.
Aye.
Kathy, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? What's
It's a
that?
lot, it's a lot.
It is, it is a lot.
It's a lot all at once.
It is. It's a huge undertaking, and there's a lot of transactions that have to take place.
And we'll probably see more resolutions eventually.
Yeah, thank you. This is a nice role. Not to budget these, but just like, there's the money. So this is being able to hold the properties. Land bank is immediately exempt from taxation. Something that the city understands that we're doing, but it's an important piece to this.
And it might be helpful at the point where you have the agreement, that could come back to the board prior to actually the sale, just so we can kind of follow it, because it is
Okay.
complicated for us lay people.
Great, okay. We can do that certainly.
Oh, it's good to get those properties.
It is really nice to get them moving. I've been looking at them forever.
Yeah.
So now we have to do the budget.
Yeah, well, we need a vote for the
Oh.
2024 budget, yeah.
And, okay, so I don't know if and that was, I mean, it's just a resolution. So I would say you already came out of finance committee, so it already has a first.
No,
Doesn't?
no, you need to have an individual move it.
It was recommended by the finance committee.
It's recommended, that's part of the whereas.
Okay.
And you've got that in there in the resolution, but somebody still has to move the resolution.
Okay.
And as the treasurer, I should not.
Move. Motion to move.
Second?
Second,
Yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. No one opposed, thank.
And,
Old business.
Old business, just the fact that the Cocoa House grant was $60,000. There's $26,000 remaining. I met with them. They're moving along very good. I'm hoping to get that drawdown fairly soon so that we can finish that project. The Barrett Street project where we own 2 properties, that is still pending. They're still moving through their Summit Avenue project, so that'll follow. And we are working still on the 2 Schenectady Foundation grants up in Mount Pleasant, Engine Hill grant, and the one for their planters, and those will both happen in the spring. They'll be finished up. So there's old business. New business, just the fact that we are in discussions. We did some demolitions on Van Branken, just east, south of Stewart's, whatever, where we took down 3 restaurants. There's an additional building. The developer is requesting assistance with the demolition of that. It's going to expand the size of the project. So we're looking at that right now with him. I'll be bringing that to the board at the next meeting, and it's going to be probably about a $60,000, $70,000 demolition assistance for that project. It's a lean project. Really, it's a good facelift for Van Branken Avenue. Really could use some good residential. I mean, it's nice to see some of that fill in.
Yeah.
So that's it for new business.
Okay, anything else? If not, then
Next meeting is where?
Next meeting's
Okay,
Amsterdam. So that'll
November?
probably be a November meeting. Because I'll have the 17 and 13 Van Branken, I'm sure. I don't think we're going to have anything for Amsterdam yet, unless they are able to take that one property so we can start moving forward with the demolition there, starting the process.
So would that be the 21st? Thanksgiving week is all.
Yeah, so do people, sorry, let me bring up my calendar too, so that we all have our own individuals going.
It's usually the 3rd. If it's the 3rd Tuesday, that would be the 21st. The question is whether that's a good.
Yeah, so the 21st, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. The 14th might be tight for me, just because I'm going to be out of town until the 6th.
All right.
If we had to. Are you okay with the 21st, or do you want?
I defer to everybody, I'm
Just see
fine.
if you need to bring
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, we'll wait to see, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, I want to get that Van Branken done.
We've done it before.
Yeah.
We've had that meeting at Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
Shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
so we're questioning November 21st, right?
Yeah. Next, in Amsterdam, where do we usually meet in Amsterdam? Are we in City Hall?
City Hall,
The
Okay.
annex.
The annex of the building in the.
yes, that little,
So long, yeah.
yes, that little building.
Does it-
Annex.
Does it have Wi-Fi? No? So what do we do? Can we project and run a meeting from there, or?
You might want to do it from your phone.
Okay.
What did we do? What did we do?
Just be in-
It's, yeah, you have to adjourn
no,
the meeting.
Yeah, motion to you.
A motion to
You
adjourn.
don't need it.
But
You're
You can
the
just adjourn
chairman.
it, you can just
declare it.
declare it, yeah.
David, how do you, did you